Did you know that 1 in 5 dogs experiences fear of men? This fear can manifest in different ways, from mild anxiety to panic reactions, with barking, growling, or even attempts to bite. If your pet gets tense at the sight of men, hides behind you, or shows aggression, today's episode is specifically for you. We will figure out why dogs fear men and, most importantly, how to help your 4-legged friend overcome this fear. Fear of men is a fairly common problem among dogs that can seriously limit the social life of both the pet and its owner. Imagine not being able to invite friends over, or your dog panicking every time you meet a man during a walk. Today, we will examine the causes of this phenomenon and offer practical solutions that really work. Why might dogs fear men? Let's start with the most common reasons. The first and perhaps most obvious reason is negative past experience. Dogs have excellent memory for emotional events. If a pet has ever been subjected to abuse from a man, it may generalize this experience to all males. This is especially common in dogs from shelters or from the streets, whose past is unknown to us. Studies show that up to 70% of dogs with a history of abuse exhibit selective fear towards certain types of people. Have you ever thought about how dogs perceive men from a physiological standpoint? Men are usually taller, have a larger build, and a lower and louder voice. For a dog, especially a small one, a tall man might look like a real giant. According to research by veterinary behavioral specialists, dogs react to a person's height. The taller the person, the more threatening they may appear. The low timbre of a male voice is also perceived by some dogs as a potential threat, as low frequencies are associated with growling. Interesting fact: dogs are capable of detecting the scent of testosterone, the male hormone. Research shows that dogs can distinguish people by the smell of their hormones, and high levels of testosterone are sometimes perceived as a signal of dominance or potential aggression. Have you ever noticed how differently your dog reacts to different men? This might be related to individual hormonal profiles. The fourth reason is insufficient socialization during puppyhood. The socialization period for puppies, which lasts approximately from 3 weeks to 3 or 4 months, is critically important for forming attitudes toward the surrounding world. If during this period a puppy did not have positive experiences interacting with different men, it may develop fear of them in adulthood. Studies show that puppies who met fewer than 5 different men during early socialization are 3 times more likely to develop fear of men in the future. Now let's talk about how dogs express their fear of men. Recognizing signs of fear is the first step towards solving the problem. A dog's body language can tell a lot about its emotional state. A frightened dog often pins its ears back, lowers its tail, may tremble or freeze. Some dogs try to hide behind their owner or run away. Have you noticed these signs in your pet when meeting men? Other dogs express fear through aggressive behavior, barking, growling, baring teeth. This is a defensive reaction. The dog is trying to increase the distance between itself and the frightening object. It's important to understand that such aggression is based on fear, not dominance or malice. The dog is not trying to command or show character. It is simply afraid and defending itself in the way available to it. Some dogs demonstrate avoidance behavior, refusing to enter a room where a man is present, or keeping a wide berth around men during walks. Sometimes this can be so subtle that the owner doesn't immediately notice the problem. For example, a dog might simply tense up or slow down when approaching a man, but not show obvious signs of fear. Interestingly, many dogs show varying degrees of fear depending on circumstances. For example, your pet might react calmly to men on the street, but panic when a man enters your home. Or conversely, fear unfamiliar men on walks, but get used to men from your family. This is related to territorial behavior and the context of the encounter. Now that we've understood the causes and signs of fear, let's move on to the most important part: behavior modification methods. How can we help a dog overcome fear of men? Desensitization and counter-conditioning are scientific terms that hide effective techniques. Desensitization involves gradually introducing the dog to the frightening stimulus in a safe environment, starting with minimal intensity. For example, initially a man might be positioned at a great distance, then gradually approach. Counter-conditioning is creating positive associations with the frightening stimulus, usually with treats or play. Practical example: ask a male friend to stand at a distance where the dog doesn't yet show signs of fear. Each time the dog looks at the man, give it a tasty treat. Gradually, Over several sessions, the man can move closer, but only if the dog remains calm. It's important not to rush and to move at a pace comfortable for your pet. Creating positive associations is a key element in overcoming fear. Ask the man your dog fears to become a source of all good things. Let him feed the dog, give treats, play with it if the dog is ready to play. It's important that the man doesn't look directly into the dog's eyes, doesn't loom over it, and speaks in a quiet, calm voice. Gradually, the dog will begin to associate men not with threat, but with pleasant experiences. Did you know that human body language is enormously significant when working with a frightened dog? Ask the man to adopt a less threatening posture. Squat down or sit on a chair. Turn sideways to the dog. Avoid direct gaze. Let him speak in a quiet voice, or even hum. This helps reduce the perceived threat. Research shows that dogs respond better to people sitting on the floor than to those standing. Sometimes professional help is required to overcome severe fear. Don't hesitate to contact a canine behaviorist or veterinary behavior specialist. They can develop an individual behavior modification plan and in some cases even prescribe temporary medication to reduce anxiety during training. Interesting fact, research shows that some dogs respond better to men in certain clothing. For example, a dog might fear men in dark clothing or wearing hats. In such cases, you can start introducing the dog to a man in light clothing without headwear and then gradually change his appearance. It's important to remember patience and consistency. Overcoming fear is a process that can take weeks or even months. Don't expect instant results and don't rush the dog. Every small victory is a step towards success. Today your dog allowed a man to toss it a treat. Tomorrow, will take it from his hand, and in a month perhaps, will allow itself to be petted. Another effective method is using a model dog. If you have access to a confident, socialized dog that responds well to men, joint walks can help your pet. Dogs learn from each other, and seeing another dog calmly interacting with a man, your pet may gradually overcome its fear. This method is especially effective for young dogs. Now let's talk about prevention. How can we prevent the development of fear of men in puppies or new dogs in your home? Early socialization is the key to preventing many behavioral problems, including fear of certain types of people. During the period from 3 weeks to 3 or 4 months, a puppy should gain positive experience interacting with different men, tall and short, with beards and without, in different clothing, with different voices. Each such encounter should be positive, with treats, play, affection. For adult dogs from shelters or from the streets, socialization is also important but should proceed more cautiously. Give a new dog time to settle into the home, usually 2 to 3 weeks, and then begin to gradually introduce it to different people, including men, in a safe and controlled environment. Creating a predictable and safe environment helps a dog feel more confident. Establish a clear daily routine. Provide the dog with a safe place in the home where it can retreat if feeling anxious. Never force a dog to interact with a person if it is afraid. This will only intensify the fear. Interesting fact, research shows that dogs living in families with men are less likely to develop fear of them. If there are no men in your family, it's especially important to invite male friends and create positive associations with their presence. Summing up, let's recall the key points of our conversation. Dogs' fear of men can be caused by negative past experiences, physiological characteristics of men, height, voice, scent, as well as insufficient socialization. Fear can be recognized by the dog's body language, aggressive or avoidance behavior. To overcome fear, methods of desensitization and counter-conditioning are used, creating positive associations, working on human body language, and, if necessary, professional help. What about your dog? Have you noticed signs of fear toward men or other types of people? What methods have you tried to solve this problem? Share your experience in the comments. Your story might help other owners facing a similar situation. If this episode was helpful to you, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. There are many more interesting topics about dog behavior and psychology ahead. Click the bell to not miss new videos and share this episode with friends who have dogs. Perhaps this information will be useful to them too. In the next episode, we will touch on another interesting topic about dog behavior that is closely related to today's. Get ready to learn many new and amazing things about your four-legged friends. Remember, understanding is the first step toward harmonious relationships with your pet. Each dog is unique, and what works for one might not suit another. Observe, learn, and be patient. and your dog will certainly respond with boundless love and trust.